Welcome to another episode of the Blue Crew, a New York Rangers podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jonny Lazarus, joined by my good friend, as always, Cody Frankel. We hope everyone had a great Labor Day weekend. I think, hockey's right around the corner. We're a little bit over a month away from the Rangers season opener, so time to get excited. We got a great interview today with Nate Thompson. We had him on for over an hour, not over an hour, but almost an hour. So I think you guys really enjoyed that. But Cody,
when you just said hockey's right around the corner, for some reason the first thing that came to my mind is, remember SpongeBob when it's like, I'm ready.
Looks like the first day of boating school. Is that episode or something?
Whatever it is, it's like a meme. The SpongeBob, like where he says I'm ready like 5 times.
That's just remind.
I guess so. Yeah. Funny enough, I'm pretty sure SpongeBob is like a lot more adult than you think. Like, yeah. I think there's some hidden messages in SpongeBob.
It's called Bikini Bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we about to unpack SpongeBob right now?
No. I mean, we can. I haven't watched it in years, but we can. If you want to go a little Patrick Porn Star, we could do that. But
I don't want to do that at all.
All right. Well, anyways, Labor Day was great, and moving apartments today, so that'll be a fun time. Yeah. My back is breaking from moving everything around. Everything's packed up and ready to rock. But I think we could just get right into the fun stuff.
Yeah, we got a lot of fan questions. You guys have been great sending us questions through Instagram. We advise you to send them over on Twitter too, but everyone seems to be using Instagram to ask these questions. So we'll kick things off with a pretty abnormal one, but something that I kind of have an interesting opinion on. And the first question comes from LS1_Rocky. You're not so popular Ranger takes that you normally wouldn't say on a podcast. Do you want me to start? Because I have one that I feel like you might have an interesting reaction to.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily know if this is a take, but a part of me as a Rangers fan, it's not like I'm not rooting for them to win the Stanley Cup, but I'm almost like afraid that when they do, it's like, what's next? It's almost been, every year as a fan is exciting because like they're almost there. And you kind of just continue to have that hope. And then one day when they do win the cup though, but then it's like, what?
They're almost there. They just made the playoffs for the first time in 5 years, you bozo.
I'm saying the last decade, though, it's always been like they've been a contender.
That falls behind their elite goaltending. But no, I disagree. I think when they do win the cup, Canyon of Heroes is going to be freaking insane, and you're probably going to be so drunk you're not even going to be able to see, and you're probably going to party for a month straight and get fired from your job.
But that's what I'm saying. After that celebration ends, like then what?
Then we do it again, and
I've never had one of my favorite.
We get to gloat that we won a cup for 10 years or however long you want to gloat for it. But we don't have to say, "Oh yeah, we won a cup 28 years ago now, before you were even born."
I'm just afraid of that being like the peak of my existence.
I'm out of here.
And then everything from there on out is just like, not as exciting. I mean, I've like I said, Cody. I mean, you're a Yankee fan. So you've seen your team win a championship. I'm really like just a Rangers fan and a Knicks fan. So I've never really experienced that. I mean, I root for the Giants, but I'm not a Giants.
No, you root for the Jets, you said.
I'll root for anyone, honestly. I am a Giants fan.
That's my boy. Easy to convince.
But I don't know. I feel like there's other people out there who might feel the same way as I do. Like after that championship happens, like
I don't think so, man, because I think you just want to get there, man. Like you just want to get, like, we haven't seen it. In 2014 we got fucking smoked, and everybody is, that's the last taste of the glory we have etched in our minds. And it's like, we didn't even really get to taste it. Like we were down 3-0 to the Kings, and we were just waiting for them to finish us off. So I think it's just getting to the promised land. Like worry about that later. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Like worry about, if that's your biggest worry in the world, then you did something right. Like who cares?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a weird feeling that I have. What would your not so normal Rangers take be, I guess?
And we talked about it a little on the pod with Nate. I just don't think Kakko is going to be a top guy. I just don't think he's going to pan out, how
ever, or as a Ranger?
In his career. In his career.
Okay.
That's a good one. And by all means, I hope he proves me wrong. That being said, like, you can't expect every single prospect to turn into, every top prospect to turn into a super stud. I mean, it happens in every sport, right? It happens in baseball, happens in football. For example, that guy on the Raiders, Alex Leatherhead, he was a first round pick last year or this year or whenever it was, and he just got released. So it's like, it happens in every sport. I used to feel that way about Hedel, and Hedel's slowly proving me wrong. I would like to see it in the regular season as well. Obviously, postseason's better. But I do think he's showing his worth. And I don't think we've quite seen it from Kakko yet. I know he was hurt, so it's kind of tainted a little bit. But he's one guy I don't know. I mean, I really hope he proves me wrong. On the other side of the coin, I think Lafreniere is going to become an absolute stud. But I don't know, man. I don't see that with Kakko. That being said, like, now he's on his 2-year prove it deal. So it's like, it's now or never, right? It's these 2 years. If he doesn't perform, like, he's not gonna be a Ranger in 2 years. That's just the cold, hard facts. We have to make tough decisions these next 2 years with the cap. And, like, if a guy like that doesn't perform, he's gone, unfortunately. Like we saw with VC, right? Like VC was, I know it's a little different because he came from college and whatever, but he was super highly touted. There were 25 teams that were interested in VC when he signed with us. And now he's like,
Hobie Baker winner.
Right. And now it's like, he's been on like 6 teams. So it's kind of like put up or shut up time for Capo Kakko. Print that.
Very well said. Very well said. Let's go into the next question from Brockett55. Where does Rangers D rank versus the league?
I think our D is great. I think it's a good question. I would say top 10, like bottom of the top 10, like maybe that 8 to 10 range, depending on.
Well, we're talking like on paper, or statistically, they were pretty bad last year.
No. I'm saying like the guys on our team. All right. I mean, last year was skewed, right? They had 60 games of Patrick Nemeth. Like, he's not on the team. And you know what I mean? Like it's that was a little skewed. I think in terms of like looking at your top 6 defensemen, like how are they compared to the rest of the league? I would say top 10. Like, I would say they're probably right around that, 9, 10, 11, 12 mark. You have a premier guy in Fox. You have 2 really good players in Trouba and Keandre.
Don't discredit Lindgren.
I'm getting to him. You have an absolute warrior in Ryan Lindgren. And then, your third pair, like Braden Schneider, he's got a bright future ahead of him. And Zach Jones, or if it's Lundqvist or whatever, like, that's kind of an unknown aspect, but every team has that. So I'm gonna say 10th. I'm gonna say 10th in the league.
I think they have a lot to prove still this year. One stat, and I'm not a huge stat guy, but one thing that just like stands out to me from last season was that the Rangers were 24th in high danger chances against.
Well, that we knew.
I mean, that's insanely alarming. Like,
that's the Patrick Nemeth effect, bro.
If it really wasn't for Igor, though, Fitz said this, a while ago, and I love this saying that Fitz tweeted, I think a couple months ago, but he said, if things are different, they'd be different. So, like, that's the Igor effect, but
pretty sure that's from a movie, but
it might be, but I just saw Fitz tweet it. So I give him the credit because that's where I saw it first. But defensively, they were not very good. They were the second worst defensive team in the playoffs out of all 16 teams. I mean, they have the skill, they have the talent back there, but they need to find a way to put it all together. And I know some fans have been saying that they want to see Fox and Keandre play together. I don't think that's the answer, because then you have 2 stay-at-home guys in Trouba and Lindgren on the second pair, and they'll have a hard time breaking out the puck if it's those 2 playing together. I think having Fox and Miller separating on deep pairs helps the breakout a little bit. But I'll take our top 4 up against anyone. I think the only top 4 defensively that I think might be a little bit better might be Carolina right now, with the addition of Brent Burns and Jacob Slavin on their top pair, and then I think it's Brett Pesce and Brady Shea on their second pair, who are pretty solid. I can't really think of another top 4 pairing or top 4, defensemen on any team that are that much better. Kleinberg is a big addition for Anaheim, with Drysdale back there and Cam Fowler. Other teams, McAvoy
So what
and
teams
Grzelcyk.
did you say so far?
I said the Ducks and the Hurricanes, and then McAvoy and Grzelcyk are actually injured for the Bruins. They won't be playing the first couple months. McAvoy is a top 5 defenseman in the NHL in my mind. Obviously that's a little biased. He's a friend of mine, but I would take him up against most defensemen in the league.
Are you just not going to talk about Makar, Taves, Manson, and Girard?
Well, I mean, they're an obvious one. I think they're an obvious. Yeah, they're like, they are without a doubt. Colorado is the premier defensive team, I think, in the league, and that's why they didn't have to have the best goalie in the league, because they're so strong defensively and offensively. I mean, Sam Girard wasn't even playing in the Stanley Cup playoffs toward the second half.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
They were still that good. But like you said, Cody, like I would take Foxy and Miller, up against almost anyone.
Too bad they aren't paired together, huh?
Yeah, but I like that better. Spread it out.
Yeah.
I mean, Miller. I actually wrote this down. Trouba finished 21st in plus minus at plus 25. Mm-hmm. Miller was like close to behind him at 24th, plus 23, and Foxy was 36 with a plus 18 at the end of the year. So, like Miller and Trouba, I mean, they've done their job. But that's all I really have about the defenseman. Do you have any final thoughts on that one?
Nah, I think you pretty much summed it up. And yeah, I mean, I think this group is, for the most part young in terms of D-men, but like very promising. And I do think they're gonna, end up being a top group eventually. Maybe not Colorado level, but they don't need to be because they have Igor. So
exactly. 100% true. So let's go into the next one. And this one's a hot topic. We've talked about this, I feel like, all summer long.
Woo, baby.
From Sorkin Matthew again, who sent a great one last week. Should there be a competition between Laff and Kakko for a spot on the first power play unit? I don't even think that's a competition. I think if anything, it's Laff's, but I've been harping on it all year long. I don't want Laff on the first unit. I think he needs to be on it.
Yeah.
I think he needs to develop more on the second unit and get more touches, get more reps, be the main guy on the second unit, because that's how he'll get better. Like, he just needs to get that experience and get more reps. He's not going to be the go-to guy. If anything, he'll be the 5th option on power play 1. So,
well, you wanted him to be the bumper guy, which makes no sense. So
shut the fuck up. For people who don't get that context, I've been praying for him to not be the bumper guy on the power play unit, the first power play unit.
Just endless texts about Lafreniere not being the bumper guy. But
to this point, throw Kakko in the bumper spot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. Kakko he won't do anything. So,
well, he's a big body. He can win battles.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, in terms of like an open competition, I think you got to give the first look at Laff. I disagree with Jonny where I do want Laff on that first power play. It's just a matter of like figuring out where he's going to go. Because to his point, like, you don't want Lafreniere on the bumper because then he's not going to put up points. He's not going to get his chance to shoot and stuff like that. Like, you obviously want to have him in a spot where he has a chance to flourish. So it's like, if there is no spot for him there, then yeah, all right, put him as the top guy on number 2 and put Kakko in that bumper spot or, someone else and see how that goes from there. But yeah, I don't know so much about a competition, but
yeah, completely agree. This next one, this is a really good question. This is from M Crank 10. Rangers win a cup in the next few years. Igor then finishes his career as a Ranger, but his numbers are just 5% below Hank's. Does he get his number retired and the title of the Rangers goalie GOAT?
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
you think so?
Goalie. Well, no, I'm saying I was saying 100% too. Does he get his number retired?
Yeah.
I mean, if he wins a cup with us, he's for sure getting his number retired. It's tough to call someone a goalie GOAT when you've seen Henrik Lundqvist their entire career and you've seen the guy dominate. That being said, like, Igor, without a doubt, had, and I say this with caution because Henrik Lundqvist had a lot of incredible postseasons, so many fun-filled memories with that guy. But like, Igor might have had the best Rangers postseason I've ever seen alive.
Not
like,
postseason.
No. Sorry, I mean like regular season, like leading into the postseason, like that I've seen a lot, like better than any of Hank's like regular season years. And then obviously he came into the postseason, was pretty rough against Pittsburgh, shook that off. And then he played fantastic against Carolina and, Tampa and got back to that elite form. So it is a really interesting question. I'm going to say yes to retire, like immediate 100% yes. If he wins a cup with the Rangers and, plays his whole career here, obviously, in terms of title of Rangers GOAT, I mean, if he's finishing 5% below Hank, then no, because that just means Igor had a better team and he does have a better team. I mean, there's a lot better, like Hank never had a Panarin. I mean, he never had, yeah, sure. He did that last year. Right. But he wasn't really playing for us. So it's like he was, he was splitting time with Igor and stuff like that. So it's like, he never had a Panarin. He never had, obviously he had Mika, but Mika wasn't who he is then. Kreider didn't have 52 goals with Hank on the team, and then all these new guys as well. So it's the best he got really was a Rick Nash who didn't show up in the postseason. So it's he played all these different games in big moments where he absolutely dominated, but didn't have anything to show for it in the end. But I kind of allude to he didn't have the talent around him there.
That's the exact point that I was going to make. And I'm happy you kind of led me into that, because I was literally going to say, if he's finishing 5% below Hank's stats, it just shows that Hank, is the better goalie ultimately, right? Yeah. He can win the cup and that's great. And that's amazing for the organization. But, and listen, there's obviously the people that will, give you that ring argument, right? Because people will say oh, he never won a ring. So
right.
He can't be
of course. Of course.
I do, to your point, Hank never had a Norris Trophy defenseman. Hank's best center was Brad Richards in the back end of his career, and Derek Stepan was the first line center. Mika right now is a top 10 center in the NHL. Panarin, like you said, is an MVP candidate almost every year. Lafreniere's a number 1 overall pick. Keandre Miller is going to be a stud. I said Fox is a Norris Trophy winning defenseman. This team, there's way more. Like you said, Kreider also. There's way more talent that we saw this past season than we could have. I don't want to discredit what Richards and Nash did, because they were really good. And even Gaborik.
I mean, Gaborik, all 2 seasons he played for us, but
who was the best defenseman for Hank's years? Who was Del Zotto?
Mark Stahl?
Offensively,
Mark Stahl
maybe Michael Roosevelt before he got traded back.
No. He did have Keith Yandel that one year, and Yandel went off
that 1 year. The one year.
Yeah. But that being said, I've never been more confident in saying Henrik Lundqvist is a top 10 goalie that ever lived. Argument could be made for top 7, top 5, whatever you got to do to make yourself feel happy there. If 10's not good enough for you, but Igor's just not there yet. Did he have a career year and a year for the ages? Absolutely. And I hope he can be a Ranger for life and continue that production. And if he does, we're going to win a cup for sure. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, no, that was a great question. Thank you, M.Crank10 for saying that. That was a really good one. And the final question we have for this week's episode from Nicholas Branca, another recurring question asker. What would you give up for Kane, Kakko, and Robertson for a playoff push? And I feel like this is going to be talked about just until Kane is traded or wherever he ends up going. But this can't be the narrative of the season. We can't be talking about Patrick Kane anymore. I don't think it's. I wanted it, I think, in the offseason. It's just not possible. Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple things to consider here. If you're trading for Patrick Kane, there's a 0% chance you're retaining him. A 0% chance. The guy's, even at the deadline, he'll still be owed $5 million or whatever. And you could probably afford him, but do you want to give up Kakko and Robertson or a Hedl or someone that might cost a lot less that you can actually fit into your top 9, as opposed to having Kane this one season going all in and so on? Because next year, I've said this many, many times, there is going to be a lot of tough decisions to be made. There might end up being a cap casualty like a Lindgren or somebody we all really like. So, it's going to make things that much harder in that regard. That being said, if the team is absolutely rolling and they're steamrolling guys and they look like yeah, they're literally one piece away from winning a Stanley Cup, and he's the guy to do it. Yeah, I would do that trade. I would give up Kakko and Robertson, and not think twice about it.
It's gonna take a lot more than that.
But for sure, I mean, for sure, it's gonna cost something like Kakko, a first, maybe a later pick, and like a guy like Zach Jones. Like, they're not looking at Robertson, like, for Patrick Kane, who's deep in his career and he's still a top 10 winger. He's going to put up points in playoffs. He's going to put up points in the rest of the regular season. So it would cost a pretty penny. That being said, like, if another type of guy like that who's doesn't cost as much, won't cost as much, like, if he's a rental and like the Rangers are rolling, like, yeah, I could see them making a move for someone of that esque who will really help this team come playoffs. But like, I just don't see how the cap works.
It's going to be interesting come deadline time. And I know that's obviously so far away, but like,
right.
If you asked me before last season, like, if the guys we added the deadline were Andrew Kopp, Frank Vetrano, and Tyler Mott, and you told me they would have helped this team go to the conference final, I would have been like, you're fucking crazy. But
yeah,
it's just nuts how everything can change with production and just overall confidence and standings and everything. And you made really good points there about Patrick Kane. And I don't think, if you asked me 2 months ago, I wanted him because I think it would have been awesome to watch him and Panarin play together. But I don't think he's like the solution to, getting over the hump. So I'm over that. I'm over that whatever that saying is. I'm over that hump. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Over
exactly.
that boat. What's the fuck the saying?
One or the other.
Yeah.
But it's a good question. It's one that's going to continuously get talked about, right? Trade rumors make guys go around. Like, it makes for great content. That being said, like, it didn't happen last offseason. I don't know if it's going to happen this trade season. I would have assumed like he would have got moved in the offseason or during the trade deadline, but he didn't. So it's like, are you really going to give up, almost the same amount for like half a season of Patrick Kane? Like, poses the question, if you really think this team is an inkling away from winning a Stanley Cup and like he's the guy 100%, 80%, whatever to do it, like, yeah, you got to make the move, and you'll figure out the rest later. You'll make the cap work, whatever. But like, if not, if they're still like, oh, we're still like 2 pieces away, then yeah, there's no chance because that's the only move you're making. So
yeah, no, I agree. And, I don't really have much else. I just want to thank everyone for sending in the questions. We love them. So continue to do so. I don't have anything else to talk about much. You want to send it to Nate? Yeah, let's send it to Nate. All right, enjoy this interview with Nate Thompson. He's the man. This week on the Blue Crew, we're very happy to welcome on a guy who has absolutely no affiliation with the Rangers, but he's one of the coolest guys in the NHL and one of my favorite people to interact with and talk to. And I'd like to call us friends, but I also think you kind of want to beat me up. Without further ado, welcome to the show, Nate Thompson. Nate, what's going on?
Not much. Thanks for having me, boys. No, I don't want to beat you up. I just want to chirp you a little bit. We'll have some banter today.
Well, I know before we started recording, you were telling us that you're afraid of Jacob Trouba. So can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
Now you're making shit up. Come on now.
Can't prove it.
No, I think he's a good player, and he's definitely a guy that you got to keep your head up when you're on the ice, which I respect. I like guys like there's not enough of those guys anymore.
You never played with him?
I played with him at World Championships. He was young. I think he was just coming out of college. But yeah, you could see it. He was raw then, but he's turned into a hell of a player.
Yeah, I was gonna say also, Jonny, you said no affiliation with the Rangers. I think you meant to say no affiliation with the Rangers yet.
Yeah.
Yet. But yeah, Nate, thanks for coming on. I'm gonna kick this off, jumping right into the NHL. Right now, you're a free agent. What are you looking for in your next NHL team at this point in your career? And, is there any specific city you'd love to go to, or possibly a contender or something of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I want to keep playing, last year was a tough year. I had shoulder surgery, but, I ended up still finishing the year playing like 15 games and I felt good. And it was kind of one of those things where it's like, I didn't want to retire having a season like that. And I still feel good. And if I feel like I have, I have stuff left in the tank, and I still enjoy it, I was like, well, I'm going to keep playing. And so for me, I want to keep playing. Obviously, I would love to go to a contender. That would be great. It doesn't really matter to me. I still love the game of hockey, and I still enjoy it. I still enjoy going to the rink today. I still enjoy training in the summer, all the things that go with it, even the grind part of it. I still enjoy it. So I guess I just want to keep playing. And if I end up on a contender and I get a chance to win a Stanley Cup, I mean, that's icing on the cake, man. At the end of the day, that's part of the reason I'm still playing too. Is I'm a little kid chasing down a dream. So.
I know most guys too would say they're not really thinking about it, but like I said, introducing you, you've played 844 NHL games. Like, are you eyeing down that 1,000 mark? Because, dude, not a lot of people have done that, and you're so close, man. Like, it's got to be something that you think about now.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely crosses my mind. I mean, I gotta stay away from because sometimes it's like, if it wasn't a lockout, if it wasn't for a couple injuries, I probably would have it or be close to it anyways. And but I mean, I played in the NHL a long time. If I get there, great. If I don't, it's still a pretty damn good career. So it's one of those things where I try not to get into that, because then it's you kind of start worrying about the wrong things, and instead of just I'm just going to stay where I am right now. I'm enjoying the game, and I just want to keep doing that.
And I kind of want to start off like where you started your career. I know you were drafted by Boston, but you really got your NHL career started in Long Island, and I'm from Long Island. We have a lot of Long Island listeners. We could talk about your first goal on Henrik Lundqvist, which was cool. But before we get into that, I want to ask you, because
you're gonna ask me what about what?
No, this is actually a fun one. You're gonna like it.
Oh, okay.
It's a good one. I'm sure if you're after, but no, this one's cool. So. When you started, you told me, I remember you were living in a house with like 4 other guys on Long Island in the NHL. Now you're a veteran, you got a kid. Just how different was that experience as a professional athlete, like living with 4 other dudes, single in Long Island, Roslyn Heights, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
You got to talk about that experience. That was probably incredible.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it worked out. So it was me, Bruno Gervais, Kyle Poso, Josh Bailey, and then Tim Jackman. So we ended up, to begin with, it was just me, Bruno, and Kyle Poso. And then Josh Bailey made the team as I think he was 19 at the time. So he joined us. We had another room. It was a 5-bedroom house.
That's so sick.
And then Tim Jackman, same thing. I think he ended up staying the rest of the year. I can't remember his situation, but he moved in with us. And it was awesome. I mean, it was like, we ended up having like 2 or 3 team parties over there. And it was like a college house. Like it was. I mean, imagine. I mean, I was only 23 years old, and I'm playing in the NHL and living like a college lifestyle almost. Maybe a little too much college lifestyle at times.
That's why you guys didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that was the only reason, but it definitely didn't help. No, but it was just fun. I mean, it's one of those things you look back on in your NHL career, and it's like, wow, I got to experience that. We were all close. We all hung out. We had dinners every night. Whether it was going out to dinner, staying at home, or making some trips to the city as well. Did a lot of that. Probably too much of that too. Probably. Yeah, I mean, it was just fun. I mean, our team wasn't very good, but you just kind of look back on it now, and it was like, at the time, you're not really even thinking about that. Yeah, I think at the time I was thinking like, man, I'm just playing NHL. I'm living with a bunch of other guys, and we're just having a good time. And we were young, so I don't think we knew any better. But it was fun. I mean, we had some good times for sure.
And I'm sure you guys have some amazing stories, just there alone. But you've played on 9 different NHL teams. What's one really funny story maybe you've witnessed at any point in your career that maybe some people don't know about?
How, like, PG or PG-13?
Whatever you want, man. Whatever you want. It's on you.
All right. I'll tell my second. I've told this a few times, but I'll tell my second NHL game story. So this is when I was playing Providence at the time. Boston's a minor league affiliate, and I got called up. So, preface that is the night before. It was our team's Providence this rookie party.
Mm-hmm.
I was not a rookie at the time, but obviously I partaked in it big time. I don't think I got to bed till probably 3-4 in the morning. And next day we have like a sweated out practice, you know, like kind of just scrimmaging, and the assistant coach pulls me to the side because our head coach didn't even come to the rink. And we went to we were skating at some practice rink, and he pulls me to the side. He's like, "Hey, Scott Gordon was the coach at the time, even in Providence when I played for him then too." And he's like, "Hey, Gordo wants to talk to you. He's on the phone. Go in that office." So I talked to him. I'm like, shit, like I'm getting traded. Like, what the fuck's going on? And he's like, "Hey, you just got called up. The team's playing in Toronto tonight. You need to hurry your ass up. Go back to your house, get changed, whatever, grab a suit, get your passport. You're meeting them in Toronto." And I'm like, holy fuck. And I'm on like, I'm running on like 2-3 hours of sleep. And I'm dying. I'm hung over.
You'd probably prefer to get traded at that point.
Yeah, I was like, after the fact, I was like, man, it would have been easier to get traded. So then I had to like, you know, go home, grab my passport, get all my shit, grab my gear, and I had to drive to Logan, which is like a 45 minutes to an hour drive from Providence, and ended up making the flight. I think I ate like a chicken sandwich and fries. I mean, that was like pregame, and I barely could get it down because I was just.
Were you going commercial at that point?
Oh yeah, commercial. Yeah,
you had the Tate's cookie, and you had the the sloppy Joe meal they gave you on the flight.
Yeah, I mean,
carrying your bag to the airport.
There was no meal on this flight because it was a quick flight. I mean, Boston and Toronto is like, it's like a 45-minute to an hour flight, if that. And so I remember we're in the air, and I'm like, I'm hurt. And I'm like, I can't believe I got to play my second AHL game like this. And then we get over, we're getting close. And then the captain comes on the phone. He's like, "Hey, dude, I don't know what was going on, fog or something going on in Toronto." And he's like, "We have to circle over Buffalo for a little while."
Oh, God.
And I'm like, holy fuck, like I might not make it. And I finally land. I go down the baggage claim. I get my gear. Team services guy from Bruins is calling me off the hook. He's like, "Hey, dude, where are you?" I'm like, "I just landed. We were circling over Buffalo." He's like, "Well, we were going to set up a driver for you, but just hop in a cab and get here."
No way.
Yeah. And I'm like,
what time is it at?
The game's at 7, obviously, which means it starts at 7:15. I probably landed at like 5:15.
Oh my God.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's
so zero sleep.
Zero sleep. I'm in a cab. And it's rush hour traffic in Toronto. So it takes us, I don't know, at least an hour. And the cab driver's like, and I've never played at the time. It was the ACC Center, I think.
Yeah.
And I never played there. And the cab driver's like, "Okay, where should I drop you off?" I'm like, "Don't drop me off out front."
This outside will call with your shit.
Oh man!
No, they left tickets for me.
I get out of the car. I'm in my suit. People are walking in Leafs jerseys right next to me through the front ticket gate. I grab my gear, sticks, and I'm walking with everyone into the front area with my sticks, bag, everything, suit. And some guy must, luckily I'm in Canada. Some guy comes over to me, goes, "Hey, you play for the Bruins?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just got called up." He's like, "Come with me." So he takes me in, and I get down there and put my gear down. And I got I think I have 25 minutes, 30 minutes till warm-up's about to start, if that. And so I didn't even have a chance time to warm up. And I remember the assistant coach pulled me in. It was Doug Huda. He pulled me into the side equipment room, and he's like, "Hey, we all know that you had a party last night in Providence. We know you're hungover." And he's like, "Don't worry." He goes, "Guilty hockey is your best hockey."
Mm-hmm.
And everyone knew except Dave Lewis was the head coach, and they didn't tell him for a reason, obviously. And I remember tying my skates, and I think it was Glenn Murray was on the team. And he leaned over, said it out loud. He's like, "Hey, Tomer's fresh. He's ready to go." Knowing that last night, it kind of relaxed me a little bit. Him making a joke, and I think I ended up playing 2 minutes, and I thought I was gonna puke and warm up. Didn't, luckily, and then I got sent back down that night when we landed, and I had to drive all the way back to Providence.
Oh my
So I
God.
got like a total like 6 hours sleep in like 2 days, and that was my second NHL game in Toronto.
That is so brutal.
Yeah,
So brutal.
yeah, a little bit different than it is now for sure.
Does that not happen these days? Like
No,
those
I
call
mean,
ups, like
you'll
last
never
minute?
see. I mean, when was the last time you saw a young guy getting called up playing 2 minutes? You just don't see that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like
The way it goes.
the young guys that get called up usually like are these like, out of college, like, right when the college season ends, like,
Yeah.
Draft picks already and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It definitely has changed
Oh, it's changed
in that aspect.
It's changed a lot because I think my first 2 games. I think it was my first 2 games. I think I played no more than like 3 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Like all you want to do is just prove yourself. And when you get like that little ice time, it's just like, how can I impact this game?
Yeah, and it's
There's
funny.
no way.
I think my first shift in Toronto, my second game, I almost scored on my first shift.
Really?
We got like a shot on net, and I was like, "Wow, can you imagine if I scored this game?" Like,
Yeah, it'd be sick.
Hungover, rookie party the night before in minors. But yeah, it's a good story, and I mean, that's one of those things that I'll never forget that game. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Cody, I think you're on mute.
Yeah.
Just talking to myself, but yeah, no, I said that's amazing. And I wanted to dive a little bit more into free agency. Obviously you've been on a variety of different teams, so you've been a free agent in the past. What's the process like when it comes to free agency and like getting a deal done?
I guess it changes year to year. It's different. I mean, for me, this is the first time I've ever kind of had to wait this long.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that I probably this year have to go on a PTO somewhere. I've never been in that situation before. I've gotten things done and talked to teams beforehand, figured things out, and then I have signed a deal on the first or second day of free agency. And this is just one of those years, circumstances of me getting hurt last year,
right?
Us not doing very well in Philly, and that's just how this thing goes sometimes. And all you need is an opportunity, right? And I was everyone. It's every team I've really been on, or even if I've had a contract, I've always had to earn everything I get. It's not like I've never been a high paid guy in the league per se, and it's just the process is just you kind of have to wait around,
right?
And with now obviously with the salary cap being what it is, it hasn't really gone up this year, and dealing with COVID the last couple of years, it really kind of hindered things for teams being able to spend money, and now they have to kind of allocate their money in their contracts and being able to have cap space. So, that all those things kind of go into it. It really does affect free agency and affects guys
right
like myself, or you've seen it this summer. I mean, it's been a relatively pretty slow free agency this summer, and I think a lot of that has to do with cap space and like I said, COVID.
Yeah.
I kind of want to piggyback off that thought. Cody, do you want to say something quick?
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, it makes sense, and also like I feel like by the time camp rolls around, a lot of teams are looking for somebody else on their squad to add that vet presence. Mentor the young guys, still be a contributor in a way, and I feel like that's something that I'm sure you'll fit right in.
Yeah, I mean, for me, my role hasn't changed for a long time, and I know I'm realistic. I know what I bring to the table now, and I know how I have to play. And if it's me being a 13th forward and I'm sitting out, that's fine. I'd be a good teammate, come to the rink every day, help the young guys out, be a good leader, and just kind of contribute in that way. And then when I'm playing, it's same things. It's penalty killing, winning faceoffs, creating energy, being a good, solid, dependable fourth line guy. So it doesn't change for me. It's just a matter of who needs that on their team right now. So I'm just kind of waiting, and we'll see what happens.
I know you're pretty active on social media as well. Not other players really are. Are you paying attention a lot to like Twitter and the rumors that are swirling? And do most guys do that? Because, obviously like us, people like us, all we do is like pay attention to all these rumors and we just run with any story. But the players, I'm sure behind closed doors, you'll like see something on Twitter and be like, oh, that's bullshit. I know that guy's not going there or something like that.
Well, I think, to be honest, I think a lot of guys do read everything on Twitter, just maybe they're not saying anything on Twitter. So everybody knows what's going on. I mean, in the world today with the Twitter and everything and social media, I mean, some guys know before it's even, announced, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think maybe it's out of boredom. Maybe it's just sometimes it's fun. I don't know. I mean,
you can just say you're into it. It's okay.
Yeah, it is. I mean, sometimes it is fun to create some banter on Twitter, and I think that you look at a guy like Paul Bissonnette. I mean, he was like kind of the guy that started it. Look how much. I mean, I don't think that's the sole reason of hockey growing, but I mean, it certainly helps.
Yeah.
When you have people or players, creating that, fun space, whether it's on Twitter or Instagram, whatever it is, right? People are drawn to that, and that's the world we're in now. I mean, as much as I'm old school in a way, it's like, well, it's 2022. Are you going to embrace it or not? I mean, that's
right.
how people are growing their business, how people are growing a lot of things with social media, and that's what it is. There's no way around it.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned Biz because we had Kenny Albert on the show last week, and Jonny straight up asked him, who do you think's more famous walking in the streets these days, Biz or Gretzky? Because it's like he's really, he kind of changed the game and the social media aspect. Obviously, they have a good thing going with chicklets and things like that. So you're absolutely right there. But I wanted to ask one more question regarding, all
Is
these
this free agency again?
Yes. No, it's not. I'm kidding. It's not free agency. But you have been in the league for 15 years and you've played for 9 different NHL teams, maybe more if and throughout minors and things like that. But what was your favorite city to live in, and has it been tough moving around so much?
I get asked this question all the time. It's hard for me to narrow down one city because they're all different in their own way. I mean, I've gotten lucky. I played in warm places. Like I played in Tampa.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Right.
I played in LA, Anaheim. I mean,
your best years in Tampa, right?
I mean, yeah, I had some good years there. I had some
really good years in Tampa. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, you're playing in a warm place. It's awesome. I mean, who doesn't want to play in, a warm, sunny place where you can wear shorts to the rink every day? But, and then I think being lucky to play in like a city like Montreal, to me, that was one of the coolest places to play just because of the history and wearing that jersey and playing in the Bell Center when it's, there's just an atmosphere that you can't create anywhere else, really. Maybe MSG. MSG is pretty close. But, yeah, it's just I've been super lucky. I can't really name one because I've played in some really cool places where I've gotten to experience different things. And I feel fortunate. I mean, I know people are like, you play on so many different teams. And, yeah, I guess at times it's tough to move. But I think now it's almost like if I look back on my career when I'm done playing, it's like, man, I was on a journey, man. I got to do all this. I got to do an adventure, right? I got to live in these different cities, and for me, it's like, wow, I guess I'm just a little more cultured now. I just know about a lot of different cities, really.
Right.
For me, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun being able to experience it.
Yeah, and also going around so much, playing for the Islanders, you got to witness where you don't want to go next too. So it's always a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to say no to any teams right now. Yeah, I mean, the Islanders were good too. That was a fun place to play at the time. I got to play in the old Nassau Coliseum too, which was great, and experience the Islander Rangers rivalry.
Yeah, can you touch on that a little bit and talk about your first goal on Henrik Lundqvist, which was, by the way, like the most unorthodox first NHL goal I've ever seen. I mean, knocked out of the midair, shorthanded, like you don't see that very often.
No, and like I was talking about MSG, I love MSG. Like it's one of my favorite places to play on the road, if not my favorite. Just because it's like the Bell Center. There's you're at MSG and there's I don't know if there's a vibe with you're in New York. You're kind of like you're the show, and
you got Margot Robbie behind the bench. How could you hate it?
You got models,
yeah, exactly.
Models and actors and actresses everywhere, so it's not too shabby. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy to be able to score my first goal at MSG shorthanded the way I did on Henrik Lundqvist, who's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. So yeah, it's something special. one of the reasons I probably will always love playing in New York. And yeah, to answer your question about the rivalry, I got to experience it. I didn't really know. I think more so until I was in Nassau playing at home, because I remember playing like the first game against the Rangers and guys like warning me and be like, "Hey, listen, like it's rowdy."
Yeah.
Like, okay. And then I realized what they meant by how rowdy, because there'd be like 5-6 fights in the stands.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. There's more fucking fights in the stands.
You're playing the game, and there'd be like a TV timeout or something like that. You look up, and there's just people falling down the stairs.
Oh my god!
Going over benches, and I'm like, oh, so that's what you mean by getting rowdy. And I'd never seen anything like that before. And funny story, actually, is another good story. Is my mom came to visit, and came to a game. We were playing MSG. At MSG playing against the Rangers. I was on the Islanders at the time, and she's sitting in the stands, and some guy behind her
chirping you,
yelling, "You fucking suck, Thompson, you piece of shit." Da, da, da. And my mom
turns around.
Keep quiet about it. She turns back. She goes, "Hey, listen, that's my son. Watch your mouth." And I guess right away this guy changed his tune.
Oh yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize." Da, da, da. Actually, and then he obviously goes, "I respect the way he plays. He plays so hard. That's why I'm saying."
No one wants Mama the smoke.
Yeah, and so of course he was on her side, and yeah, you don't mess with moms. You know how that goes. But yeah, it was pretty funny.
It's so funny that you say that too, because one of the best things I've heard, Big Cat said this on Pardon My Take. Every professional athlete once a year should be able to beat the shit out of a fan. Like, you know, if you're going to go to the game and give it, you better be able to take it, you know?
Yeah, there's been times where I've wanted to, for sure, because fans, man, they're ruthless. I mean, especially in cities like New York or Philly.
Mm-hmm. Philly, I'm sure.
Oh, Philly's, they are not afraid to boo you, and they're not afraid to tell you how they feel. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think I would ever do it.
Yeah.
It would have to take a lot for me to get to that point. But yeah, there's been times when I'm like, yeah, I'd love to grab that guy right now.
Maybe a pay-per-view Showtime boxing match. I know they're getting really big into that these days for post athletes. So
like a rough and rowdy kind of thing.
Yeah, or like Adrian Peterson is fighting. Who's he fighting?
He's fighting.
Yeah, he's fighting.
Is he like the most like injury-prone football player ever?
Oh my gosh, he's fighting Le'Veon Bell.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't even know about that.
Neither.
Inside scoop.
Well, speaking of that, Nate, have you thought? I know you're doing. Are you still doing 44 Concierge?
I am. I'm still going on. Yep.
So, have you thought about like post-career stuff? What you want to get into? I mean, I feel like you'd be great in media and on TV as well. No?
Yeah, I've thought about doing that. I mean, I know I for sure want to stay in the game, whether it's working in some capacity, whether it's in management, player development, whatever, for a team, and media. I've kind of I've kept those things now in the forefront, knowing that I'm obviously at the latter part of my career now.
Right.
So yeah, when I'm done, hopefully it'll be its transition into either that or staying in the game. I'll be in the game somehow, because, like I said, I don't see myself being involved in anything else. Hockey's given me so much. So like, guys always say when they retire, that they played for a long time and they only know anything different. Like you got to give it back. So I definitely want to do that and stay in the game in some capacity.
I obviously haven't played as long as you have, but like, even for me, like, I stopped doing hockey stuff for like a year, and it was just like 1 year, and I've only played, 4 years past high school. And I was like, fuck, like I got to get back and do something, just cause I mean, it's so fun. And like when you're passionate about it, and when, you're really
everyday life.
Yeah. But Nate's also like a huge advocate and like a cool guy. And like hockey needs more guys like you. I mean, I told you this like, last week or whatever, like, just you like quote tweeting my shit and like fucking with me is like so great. And I think, some teams are starting to do it. Like the Devils will like, roast some fans every now and then, which is cool. Like the teams are getting into it, but a lot of these young guys, and I don't know what it is, but there is just like this weird fear of like putting yourself out there in hockey. And I don't know why that is. I mean, are you like, you're obviously like kind of new to it, but like, I guess I know you kind of touched on it before that like, you got to get with the times, but like, when did you really like put yourself out there in social media? Cause you have, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, I've had a guy help me with like social media content and stuff, and he's kind of helped me to like relax a little bit and not be so robotic. I think it's just kind of evolved. I think now maybe because I'm older and, I'm kind of like, fuck it.
Yeah, you kind of just care less. Yeah.
Just be myself, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Just have fun with it. And I think it's just, hockey's the greatest game for sure. But I think it's, as players and as personalities in the game, I think we are very robotic, and it's very like, it's the same answers and it's the same cliches. But that's because I think, we have such good guys in the sport that no one wants to ruffle any feathers, and everyone's afraid to kind of, I don't know, not so much be themselves, but, give a controversial answer. Because they don't.
Besides Sean Avery.
Yeah, besides certain guys, obviously. But I think that it's starting to get better, though. I think you're starting to see guys be a little more open. I think when you watch the playoffs and you see guys going back and forth at each other in the media,
right?
Fucking great for hockey.
Mm-hmm.
You create those rivals, you create that hate. Fans get into it. I mean, I think it's great for the game. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't think we're on the level of like NBA or NFL, no. And I don't know if we'll ever get there, but I think it's going to create a lot more entertainment for hockey, with guys just being more open and being not afraid to say what they want and how they feel.
Not a baseball guy, Nate?
I like baseball. I do like baseball.
Yeah. No, that's great. So I want to ask one question regarding the Rangers. The Rangers are in cap hell, and they're going to be for quite some time. But if Chris Drury comes calling, are you answering the call?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's the New York Rangers, original 6 team, add the teams to 10. And yeah, I mean, I would definitely be all about it. I mean, like I said, I'm not in a position right now to be turning down contracts or telling teams I don't want to play for them. I want to play hockey, and I want to keep doing it. And to be playing on the New York Rangers, I mean, that'd be a dream. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And this is the pitch, because their PR sometimes listens to our pod. So,
what did you say, Drury?
No, I said their PR. Their PR.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, you seem like a great character guy, great person. So I think you'd be an awesome fit if the opportunity ever presents itself.
Yeah,
and you have to get us tickets.
100%. Against the glass, so we can chirp you.
Oh, against the glass, huh? Yeah.
We're particular.
Okay. And then are you guys taking me out for dinner after I get you guys?
Nope, you're paying.
Yeah. I'll take you out. Johnny's poor.
Okay. All right. That sounds like a fair deal for me.
Well, can you actually take us into like the minds of the current Rangers right now? Because, back in 2011, you played Game 7 Eastern Conference Final against the Bruins. The Rangers were 2 wins away from the Stanley Cup Final this year. Like, what is your mindset going to that summer? Because, obviously everyone says you never know when you're going to get back there. And, a lot of this team is pretty young, but so was that Tampa team. And obviously they ended up, doing what they've done the past 5 or so years, but you were there for the start of all that. So
right.
I feel like your mindset then would be similar to the team now.
Yeah, it is. And I always say this, and I think, the Rangers are a very good hockey team. I was super impressed with them this year and the way they play, and the guys and all the different type of players they have on their team. They're super skilled, but they play hard. I mean, they're fun. They're a fun team to watch. And then obviously they have a world-class goalie in Shesterkin. But you can't succeed without failing.
Yeah.
And I think that, I've been on teams where we've gotten close, and you look at Tampa. I mean, man, you look back at, what is it, the 8 years before they won those cups, like they lost, like they couldn't get over the hump. They went to the finals, they lost in conference finals. When I was there, we lost in the conference finals, and they kind of had to go through these like ebbs and flows, and you learn how to win, like and I think that it goes a long way. You fail like that over so many times, you kind of like you figure it out, and that's why Tampa, I think, is in the class they are now. Is, I mean, they just know how to win. They know, they figure out, even if, and I think at times, you guys could say it. I mean, I watched every game in the playoffs, and Tampa got outplayed a lot of games.
Yeah, right.
I thought they got outplayed by Toronto, but they figure out a ways to win. I mean, at the end of the day, they won the series. They got to the Cup Finals again. So, that's that's a full team of winners. So I think that's what it is, and I think it's good for the Rangers. I mean, as close as they were, I think you're going to get a team that's going to be driven and ready to win this year, and I think they all learn from that. I think everything the Rangers have been through over the years, it only helps them. It only helps them this year because they got a team that I think can easily contend for a Stanley Cup.
Mhm.
Yeah, and those are some great points. And it's funny you mentioned Tampa kind of getting outplayed because, I mean, the Rangers did too, right? They got outplayed against Penguins. They got outplayed against Carolina, but they found that way of resilience and then, found a way to win. And I think that's what good teams do. And if they can build on that, then great. They can, compete for that cup for the next 5-7 years. So
yeah, absolutely. And that's what it is. It's like, that's the playoffs. Like there's going to be games where you get dominated, but you find
right.
At the end of the day, it's you win the game, and that's just the playoffs, and that's what's so fun about it. So much fun to play in them.
And we
how hard is it? I was gonna say, how hard is it as a player to fucking sit on the couch and watch the playoffs? Like, I mean, is it harder when you don't make the playoffs, or is it harder when you get eliminated and have to watch the rest?
Oh, I mean, I would say harder to get when you don't make the playoffs. I mean, as much as it sucks to get eliminated from the playoffs, to get a chance to play playoff hockey, there's nothing like it. I mean, that's why we play. So, yeah, I mean, it does kind of suck watching from your couch, but at the same time, I kind of was trying to be positive about it because I watched a lot of hockey this year, not being healthy and being injured for a little bit, and then obviously not making the playoffs. So, I tried to kind of put on my coaching, scouting, media hat, I guess you could say, right? Just watching games, but it was a fun playoffs to watch. I mean, I think it was awesome. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you want to be playing playoff hockey. So
I don't know, but you did call a Justin Braun goal, and we never got to see one. So
I know Bronner didn't come through for me. And he's got a hell of a stick, though. Good stick on that guy.
Yeah.
Did he end up signing anywhere?
Back to Philly.
He's back to Philly?
Back to Philly, yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Me neither.
Yeah.
He was a good addition, though, that's for sure. And didn't you have a overtime playoff goal once, or with Anaheim? No, did you not?
I don't think I had. I mean, I've had overtime goals in the regular season, a few, but never. I don't think I've ever had one in the playoffs.
I thought one hit off your shin and in overtime.
Oh no! I don't know. I know which one you're talking about. We thought it did, but
oh, you didn't get the credit.
But Corey Perry,
scumbag. He doesn't need those.
Yeah, I think it actually was his, but guys were all over him. I think it was against Calgary. Yeah, he ended up getting it, I think. Yeah.
Damn, I really thought that was you. I vividly remember that goal. Didn't you guys sweep that series? You had a bunch of goals.
We swept against Calgary. Yeah, we did. We swept.
That Anaheim team was good.
Yeah, we were really good. We had some fun years in Anaheim too.
I remember you scoring a bunch in that run. No,
I had a very good first round against Calgary that year.
Yeah, I remember that.
Really good year. Yeah.
Cody, go into the movie one.
You want me to? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. So transitioning from hockey a little bit, if you could be one character in any movie or TV series ever, who would it be?
In a movie or TV series?
Yeah, just one character.
I think if I was going to pick a TV series, I would be Tommy Shelby from Peaky Blinders.
Unreal answer. Johnny doesn't know what TV is, so you can.
I don't watch shows at all.
Unreal answer. You might eventually die of lung cancer real soon, but
yeah, because he just hacks cars.
Did you hear?
But he makes it look so cool.
Though. I know. When he was
the way he flicks it up and
when he was doing season 3. I think it was season 3. He did an interview and was like, "Yeah, I smoke 1,000. I had to smoke 100 cigarettes every season, like crazy."
It's nuts. He's nonstop smoking. I think Tommy Shelby, and then if it was like a movie, it would have to be Tom Cruise, man.
Oh, don't say what I was gonna say.
Maverick.
Oh no, okay. I was gonna say Ethan Hunt from Mission Impossible.
No.
Yeah.
Maverick, man. I mean, who doesn't want to be a fighter pilot?
Being a CIA agent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's hard, but I think for sure Tommy Shelby, Peaky Blinders. I mean,
that's awesome.
Badass.
I've never seen any of these movies, so I can't
All
really
right.
contribute.
Johnny's gonna say,
huh?
You need to stop watching Rangers games nonstop and maybe watch.
No, I just watch
does.
Adam Sandler movies on repeat.
That's all he does.
But
Johnny's
I'll
Big Daddy for sure.
I'll throw one at you though. Who's playing Nate Thompson in a movie though? If there's like one about you.
Ooh.
Shit, that's hard.
I know who.
Who?
Joe Manganiello.
Oh, Joe Manganiello.
Who the fuck is that?
That's a good one, right? That's a good
really
one.
Good one.
You like that?
I would take that. I know Joe a little bit. Actually.
Who is that?
Johnny, look it up.
I don't even know how to spell that guy's name.
He's married to
Vera
Sofia,
Farmiga. Yeah.
Vergara.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
probably a handsome guy.
He's definitely a handsome guy.
He's a lot bigger than I am too. So
He's massive.
Yeah. And he's a huge hockey fan, by the way.
Really?
He's from Pittsburgh. Big Penguins fan.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Well, that's another fun one to ask. What was your like favorite celebrity encounter over your NHL career? I mean, you must have had some in LA, no?
Yeah, I mean, Will Ferrell was at a lot of our games.
Sick.
He's a huge Kings fan, and he came down to locker room a couple times. I mean, that was cool. I mean, seeing Will Ferrell, it's Will Ferrell, right? So,
Yeah.
That was awesome. I think he's right up there.
I pitched to Steve Mayer once, the chief content officer of the NHL. I told him that there should be a Christmas Day game in Rockefeller Center and have Will Ferrell in the Buddy the Elf costume in between the glass interviewing players. I thought it was like my fucking most genius idea ever.
Yeah,
He shut you down.
People would definitely watch that. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I guess on that note too, like, you know, we didn't touch on this really, but you grew up in Alaska. Not many players from Alaska in the NHL. I mean, right now, Jeremy Swayman, I think, is one of the few. And you grew up with Dubinsky and Gomez. Mystery Alaska. I know the MLB just did like the Field of Dreams game.
Good movie,
and I just watched Field of Dreams for the first time actually like 2 weeks ago. But how cool would it be for you if the NHL did like a outdoor game in Alaska? Like the Lake Tahoe one was so sick.
I think it'd be awesome. I mean, it would obviously be pretty hard to navigate that, it being in Alaska. But I think they could do it. I mean, I know players would love to play in a game like that. I know players love playing outdoor games. I mean, it's such a spectacle. But, I mean, growing up in Alaska was awesome. I mean, I feel pretty lucky to be able to say that I was born and raised there and came out of there. And we've had some really good players, too. I mean, like you guys mentioned, Gomez, Dubinsky, Matt Carl, another one. You know, I grew up with him. We played together all the way growing up. And then now Swayman, right?
He's sick.
He's very good. Yeah,
he's
kind of that next generation, that next wave coming up, and it's awesome to see. We always root for our own, and I hope that he has a long, really good career in Boston. But I mean, Alaska was awesome. I mean, just be able to, I mean, it's such an outdoorsy place. It's a beautiful place to go and be from, and I mean, I don't know. There's not much else I can say. It was just it was a cool place to grow up.
Can you give us your best Gomer and Dubinsky story? I actually I remember you talking about it on Missing Curfew that like Gomez at a face-off like told you to switch your stick or something. Like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, this is when he was playing on the Rangers, and I was playing the Islanders, and it was at Nassau Coliseum, and I think there was maybe there was a little bit of a longer whistle in between draws or something like that. I was taking face off on my offside, so I was going to go to my forehand, and I was like setting up like that. He goes, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Turn your hand over." He's like, "Get good at like going on your offside on your backhand. You'll have more strength coming through, and it'll be harder for guys to win face-offs against you." And I'm like, "Okay." So I turned my hand over. I never took face-offs like that. And of course he wins the fucking draw.
Well, obviously, yeah. He's not going to let you win the draw.
I'm like, thanks a lot for the tip that you just snap it back in my defensive zone and make me look bad. But, to his credit, man, like I worked on that. And that's how I win faceoffs a lot now is on my offside of my backhand. And he was right. You see a lot of the best faceoff guys, and they're not really going on their forehand, they're offside. So it was a great tip and a pretty funny story. That's just, like he says, we take care of our own up in the last.
Yeah.
I was gonna say though, that's like kind of blind trust. Like, what if he was just fucking with you and like made you lose the draw on purpose? Like,
yeah, I mean, he could have. I mean, maybe he did a little bit, knowing he was.
Yeah.
face up, but in the long run, he was helping me out.
Yeah, that's funny.
The funny thing is, Jonny for sure had to look up Mystery Alaska right before this to
What the
to
fuck are you
ask you a
talking about?
question,
That's
'cause he
actually
doesn't
one of my
watch
favorite
movies.
movies.
He doesn't
That's
watch
one of my
movies.
favorite
You know?
movies. I
Yeah,
watch
what
hockey
team do they?
movies.
What team do they play, Jonny?
The Rangers.
All right, just making sure.
Yeah.
What's the who's the little fast lefty? Stevie something?
Stevie Weeks.
Yeah, Stevie Weeks.
Yeah.
He skates the river.
Yeah, he's nasty. I like that. That'd be so cool. Like such a cool helicopter shot of players skating a river into the rink. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean that would be
fucking
badass.
insane.
It would be hard to pull off, but it would
Yeah.
be
It'd
it
be
would
hard
be
to pull up,
incredible.
but if they could do that, that would be
Yeah.
incredible.
So badass.
Yeah.
Nate, are you cool with one or two more questions each? I know we got a lot of time here.
Yeah, I got nothing going on.
Cool.
All right, so we'll do 10 more.
10 more.
I
Well,
literally-
what's going to happen is we'll say one more, and then as Jonny asks his question, he'll say, "Oh, sorry, I got one more for you." Four
that's
different
fine.
times.
I really have nothing going on, boys. So yeah, fire away.
All right, I think my last one is: who's been your favorite teammate to play with over your career, and who's been the toughest player to play against?
Oh fuck, you guys are giving me the tough ones, man.
You like that?
We'll give you the easy ones.
I've had some great. It's hard, man. I can't narrow down one team.
You could say a few.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some great teammates. I mean, guys that I'm still friends with. I mean, like my time in Tampa, we had a close group of guys where I still keep in touch with, like Marty St. Louis, Teddy Purcell, Stammer, Ryan Malone, to name a few. And then in Anaheim, right? I mean, I had like Getzlaff, great captain, great guy. We had a great group there. I mean, fuck, it's hard, man. I think it's just one of those things. Hockey's awesome, man, because I've been able to play for so many different teams and become friends with so many different guys over the course of years, and even my time in Philly, I got close with Scotty Lawton and Couturier. These guys are just good humans, and I mean, I could probably, if you named every team I play for, I could tell you a guy on each team that.
All right, should we do it?
And it's and then I'm leaving other guys off the list, but I can just name a few, But if you want to, go ahead.
All right, Boston.
Boston. Shit, I only played 4 games with Boston.
All right, Isles.
Bruno Gervais.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tampa, you just said a few. Anaheim, you just said a few. Ottawa.
Mark Stone, Chris Weidman.
Stoner's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, Kings.
Toffoli, Carter. Shit.
I still hate Carter for 14.
Brown. I live in the same area as all of them, so I see them. I see those guys.
That's awesome. All right, Habs.
Brendan Gallagher, Max Domi, Shea Weber, Price, to name a few.
All right, and then Philly and Winnipeg.
Philly, Scott Lawton, Couturier, Justin Braun,
Bronner.
Kevin Hayes, Keith Yandel, Winnipeg, Paul Stasny, Wheeler, Scheifele, Mason Appleton, Adam Lowry. Yeah, to name a few. I mean, that's
That's
all
awesome.
right. Now, which player on those teams do you hate the most?
I love this guy. Great guy, but playing against Brendan Gallagher,
I'm sure.
But yeah, he bugs the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Anyone on the Rangers that you fucking hate?
That I hate.
Besides Trouba.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody on the Rangers that really I'm hating or I'm nervous about.
Yeah.
No.
Let me twist it this way. If you could chill with one guy that you haven't, gotten to know or maybe played against, who's a guy that you think would just be a really cool dude to hang out with?
I think I don't really know him that great, playing against him for a long time, but I'm kind of a hockey fan at heart too, like Ovechkin or Crosby.
Yeah.
Crosby?
Yeah, I mean,
You want to hang out with Crosby? He seems so boring.
no, I'm sure he's a good dude and fun guy. I mean,
Life in the day Ovi probably seems so fun.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, that would be fun to play with guys like that. Just to be able to I mean, I think it's awesome being able to I played with guys that are Hall of Famers or going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Be able to play with, hang out with guys like that, and they're, that low key, down to earth guys, so it's fun to get to know guys like that.
For sure.
All right. I do have one more, and this is it, I promise. Give us your like favorite New York City moment as a professional athlete. Doesn't have to be like on the rink. Could be like a day off. I know a lot of guys like to, walk around Soho and do that kind of stuff in their day offs here.
Favorite, I think probably the night after I scored my first NHL goal. We had a day off the next day, which was a travel day.
Uh-huh.
So me, Bruno Gervais, I can't remember, maybe Colin Poso came too. And I remember it because it was the day that Obama was elected the first time.
Oh, wow.
In 2008.
Good South Park episode.
And so we had a night. I think it was like one of those things where I was just like on an all-time high. I just scored my first NHL goal at MSG, and then we went to some lavish dinner and went out that night, and it was like a wow NHL moment. Like,
yeah,
hanging out in New York City after I scored my first goal at MSG. That was pretty awesome.
That's super cool. All right, I'm gonna ask one more. I'm sorry, but this is just I have to.
It's what he does. It's what he does.
No, but this one's a little more serious.
You want to pull up the video of me missing the empty net too? Is that what?
No, that one's good. I was so scared to hit tweet on that one, but it was too good. I couldn't.
Yeah, but once you press the button, you can't bring it back though.
I know. I was also cracking up at your DM. Like wherever I end up, I'm fucking circling the Rangers on the calendar.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not. People don't forget, Johnny.
I know. I was actually so scared after. I'm not gonna lie. But this one's like a little more serious because. It is really cool that you are open about it, like your sobriety and just the mental health aspect of the game. It's really fucking hard. And I was never a professional athlete. Like I had struggled with it in college. So I can only imagine like what, these guys are going through. But, a lot of fans like this postseason were kind of ripping on Panarin for his performance. And I thought he played fine. And like all these other guys, like what goes into your mind, like with the pressure from the fans, from the media, like, how much does it really affect you? And I guess, if you could just touch on mental health in the NHL, like what would you talk about? What would you say?
I mean, I think it affects guys differently. And obviously it depends on what hockey market you're in. And, like a guy like Panarin, he's a world-class player and, he's a big time, character for that team. And yeah, I think you just have to, obviously people want to see guys perform and they're paid to perform, but people don't realize that guys, we're not like robots. Like guys have, a normal life and dealing with other life issues as well as anyone else. And I think people just kind of forget about that. And I think that it's getting better. I think we're heading in the right direction, but I think it's something that's not talked about. And I think sports in general, I think it's one of those things where it's a culture thing where before in the old school days, you don't talk about your feelings and how you're feeling that day or what's going on at home. I think to be able to talk about it with someone and be open. I mean, I always tell people that guys that are like open about shit or they're vulnerable, man, I'm like, it takes a lot more fucking balls to be vulnerable and talk about how you're feeling than not say anything at all.
Yeah.
To me, that's toughness. That takes courage, and I think that we're heading in the right direction, but there still needs to be talked about more. And it's still
for sure.
That, it's something that, as a society too, I think it's, it's a stigma, right? Where, we went through a 2-year pandemic where, it messed with a lot of people's heads. I mean, there were days for me where it was not easy, but, luckily, with my sobriety and things I've gone through in the past, I was able to, have the tools and kind of figure things out. But, there's a lot of people that need help. And I think it's just people knowing that, man, it's okay. Just ask for help. That's the biggest thing. And that takes courage to be able to do that.
I was going to say, I feel like that's something that would be perfect for you, like post-career, like doing player psychology stuff. Like, I spoke to a psychiatrist in my, college years, and just it's, I don't know, it really does help. And like when you are playing and, towards the back end or wherever you are in your career, and, you're just not able to do what you used to be able to do. You just kind of, it almost is like a drug, right? Like once you get a taste of that success, like, I honestly, like, I don't know why I'm thinking about this player, but a guy like Capo Caco has gotten so much heat because he was a second overall pick.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard for him to find that confidence back. Like, so, and that's a huge topic this offseason with Rangers fans is like, can Caco be this guy that they drafted at number 2 overall? But it's like, once your confidence is like shot, it's like, it's fucking tough, man. I don't know. I didn't mean to end on such a bad note. Like if you want
No,
to,
it's a great point.
I think it's a good note. I mean, Johnny, you just talking about your own stuff. I mean, people are watching this.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe someone's fucking struggling and they don't even know what to say, but you coming out and talking about it, someone's gonna be like, oh shit, like, oh, he's struggling too. He's dealing with the same things I'm dealing with. Oh, okay, you know what? I can talk about this. And I've always said that, like, if I can help just one person by talking about it, like, it's a win. When I get, if I get a DM from someone after I'm open about it and they're like, hey, like, I'm kind of going through the same things right now. I appreciate you just talking about it. You just talking about it helped me.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's changing the narrative and being able for people to be open about it. So it's just a triple down effect. And people are like, fuck, you know what? I don't feel like getting out of bed today either. I don't feel like talking to anybody. I kind of want to just sit in my room and just marinate in my bed all day.
Yeah.
And, like I said, you talking about it, and hopefully these young guys that have all these expectations come to the league and maybe, are reaching those expectations to be at the very start where everyone wants them to, being able to have someone to talk to about it and grow. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you talking about that.
Likewise, man. And
let's end on a positive note though.
Yeah.
What's your favorite chirp that you've had at you by a player and or a fan? Like one where you're just like, fuck, they got me. I can't come back.
I don't know. I can't remember any ones with a fan, but like I remember, I don't think it was said to me, but I heard it. I overheard it, and it was Brendan Witt when I was playing on the Islanders.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
One, I can't remember who it was on another team, but it was like off the face-off, and he just looks over the guy and he goes, "Is that your mean face?" And he said it so quickly, like, yeah, because he was like looking at him like this, and he's just like, "Is that your mean face?" And it was like so fast, where it was like the kid, I don't know who it was, didn't know what to say. He was like, you know what I mean? He had nothing because he was trying to feel looking and like intimidating, and he was like, "Is that your face?" Like with like no. Reaction. It was pretty good. I mean, there's been a few, but I know it's hard.
Yeah, if you want your worst chirps, I mean, look no further than Johnny's tweets. So
yeah.
I mean, he had to pull up a fucking video of me missing an empty net.
Honestly, I didn't remember that it was you specifically, but I remembered it happening, and I was like, it almost kind of made it better for me that it was you.
I always tell them, like my buddies from home, they always joke around. They're like, "Man, you made the top 10 on SportsCenter." I think I was like number 2 or number 1 for my first goal.
Uh-huh.
And then I made the not top 10 for missing the net on that game. I remember that because it was, that was, and I think even like PTI did like a happy, how they do like that happy anniversary, happy Annie.
Yeah.
They brought that up one year, and all my buddies were sending it to me. They're like, "Hey, happy Annie, just so you didn't forget, So no, I haven't forgotten that empty net.
I mean, honestly, it's probably like more fun that you missed it. Now, if you scored it, it's like no one talks about it, but because you missed it, it's like a fun story.
Yeah,
famous for something on the island.
Yeah,
seriously,
it's hilarious.
But
Nate, we want to thank you
man.
so much, man. Like,
yeah, no problem.
Gave us so much time, and hopefully, when you find a team or whatever, we can get you back on during the season, or
hopefully,
before you play the Rangers, we could do something. Or
yeah, my pleasure. I'll be more than happy to come out with you guys. It seems like you guys are doing well, and this thing's blowing up for you guys. I saw you guys in the playoffs and stuff, and you, Johnny, and both you guys. I'm happy for you guys. I would love.
Thanks, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Nate. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
We really want to thank Nate Thompson once again for coming on, and we're going to start the campaign to get the Rangers to sign Nate Thompson. We'd love to have him in New York. I think he'd be
Nate the Great.
Like Cody said, he'd be a great addition and a perfect fit. So everyone, if you're listening right now, start the tweets at New York Rangers, sign Nate Thompson. We want him, all that mumbo jumbo. But I mean, just such an awesome guy. Took an hour to talk to us, and Really cool to hear a current free agent's mindset and what goes into the process and everything,
Yeah, it was definitely really neat. And I think, he is a great guy. I'm sure he's going to get picked up. I'm sure he's going to get PTO or whatever it is. And like I said, man, teams look for that vet presence. And, especially like you want to talk about character building. That guy's a great character, great story. And I really do think he's had a fantastic career and like great guy to mentor the young kids. And I think he would be a perfect fit on the Rangers if, even if it's giving him like the vet minimum or whatever it is, like they're making him that 13th forward or whatever they got to do there. But yeah, I would love to see him in New York. So
completely agree. And we don't really have much else this week. We're going to be taking next week off. And then after that, it's pretty much foot on the gas, throughout the entire season. So
all gas, no brakes.
All gas, no breaks. You won't be hearing from us until September 19th. Please feel free to send in more questions and stuff.
It sounds far away, but it's not. It's just a week gap. Don't worry.
Just a week, and we're gonna, get caught up on everything with training camp starting and all this stuff preseason. So we want to just be fully rested up and ready to go. So, we appreciate everyone for listening throughout the entire summer. It's going to be officially fall pretty much next time you hear from us. So we love you guys. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed that interview with Nate, and we'll talk to you in 2 weeks or so.
LFGR.
Later.